9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis in for this first hour of the Chris Hand Show. Chris called out today, so I'm here for 1 hour, and then Chad Benson is going to be here from 10 to noon, and then he'll be on from noon to 3, and then I guess this afternoon at 3. It is Murphy's Show for your ride home here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Phone lines are open. Chris takes phone calls, and so I would love to talk to you, 615-737-9986. So this is ricocheting across the internet this morning. I love this.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Now, the great thing is, of course, these are all Democrats, right? These are all Democrats talking about Donald Trump. No one, they said, no one is above the law. Well, except for Hunter Biden, it would appear.
No one is above the law.
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 And they just keep going, they keep going, they keep going. And then, of course, they go to Hunter Biden, who is walking out of the courtroom at the time that this video was made, who clearly, Hunter Biden is above the law. Now, Scott Jennings, and we've been talking about this all morning long during Nashville's Morning News, just very quickly, Scott Jennings was on CNN this morning. And I love how this fight happened. Now, you know the Scott Jennings, right? I love Scott Jennings because he has a great ability to put, the other Democrats or the Democrats on CNN in their place. And Scott, of course, is a Republican, and he's been having all sorts of fun since the election. And he's on CNN, and he's on there with a couple of Democrats. I don't even know who they are. But I want you to listen very closely because apparently there's some people on the left who are blaming Donald Trump. Believe it or not, somehow they're blaming Donald Trump for Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter. Now, I guess how their opinion goes is that because Donald Trump wants Cash Patel to be the head of the FBI, that Joe Biden decided, oh crap, Cash Patel in charge of the FBI, I better pardon my son Hunter. But not only, as you know, I mean, Joe Biden gave Hunter a pardon for all possible crimes from January 1st of 2014 all the way to yesterday, December 1st of 2024. And so obviously what that does is that protects Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and Jim Biden perhaps and the entire Biden crime family from any possible investigations, because a lot of the things that the Biden crime family is accused of, these are things that Hunter Biden was right there at the core. And so you have the Democrats now, and they're saying, well, Donald Trump, he's got a bulldog in there. He's got a guy like Cash Patel who is going to be running the FBI, and that means that Donald Trump is going to go after his political opponents. That means Donald Trump is going to attack Hunter Biden and make sure that he spends years and years and decades in jail. So Joe Biden had to pardon Hunter. That's the Democrats' thinking. Now, Scott Jennings was on CNN with a couple of libs.
Listen, you guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow caused by Donald Trump. Oh, he's appointing the wrong people. Oh, he did it. Oh, this is the worst possible thing a president could possibly do to his party and to the country, to sit for a year and say, I will not do this. I will not do this.
Yep.
The rule of law is sacred. We have to respect the justice system. Juries, we have to respect juries. We have to respect the guardrails and the norms of our democracy. These people are liars. Inflation, it's transitory. Afghanistan, it's a success. The border is secure. Robert Hur is a liar. The videos are cheap fakes. Biden has a cold. He'll never drop out. Oh, I'll never pardon Hunter. It's all a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 38, 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait.
I love that. And I love how he says only the most partisan, brain-rotted people will not hold Joe Biden accountable. We'll be okay with him lying to the American people for months, if not years. Because, I mean, he just named a few of the lies that we have heard from this administration and this family. From the border is closed and, you know, Joe Biden is mentally equipped to handle the job to now he won't pardon his son Hunter. And so all of these are in my estimation, they're lies. They're clearly lies. And I love how the Democrats, you know, they are trying to spin this a number of different ways.
He's disgraced today. Outrageous.
But Scott, you don't need to hurl names and say people like me are brain rotted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sad that Scott Jennings called you partisan and brain rotted? Well, you are. And don't forget, I don't know who this woman is, but I will be honest and tell you that more than likely she has called you a Nazi and Donald Trump Hitler at some point. Because that's all the Democrats love to do, right? The Democrats love to name call. And so this woman who's on this panel with Scott Jennings, she's pearl clutching over being called a name. When the left, that is all they have been doing, is calling our side names.
Come on, that's a little beyond the pale, even for you, Scott.
Listen,
I disagree. We can disagree about
You don't have to defend this. He's leaving office. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to die on this hill. You can say this is wrong because everybody knows that it is. It's wrong. Are you fine with the lying? Are you fine with him sitting before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
Let me help Scott Jennings out. Love you, Scott. She's a Democrat, and Democrats are okay with lies. They were okay with Joe Biden lying about Donald Trump since literally day one. They were okay with Joe Biden and the Democrats lying about the border patrol, whipping Haitians. They were fine with all of the lies that the Biden administration has told. So this is nothing new.
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family.
Oh, please. For
his family. Period, full stop.
Period, full stop. That's what this Democrat says on CNN. So, you know what? There's a lot of people that are talking this morning, and Scott Jennings, you know, I would say this to Scott Jennings, is that here's the deal. This one moment, while it is disgraceful, this is not something that is disgrace to Joe Biden. This entire administration has disgraced Joe Biden. I mean, clearly, for all of the reasons that we talk about all the time. And so for me, with Joe Biden and the fact that he has done what he's done, really, at least to me, it shows you that Biden, at least in my opinion, it's almost like, when does he actually tell the truth? I would actually be curious. Has there been a time when Joe Biden has actually told the truth? I mean, certainly this wasn't the truth.
Ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
All right. So, and as Scott Jennings said, we could roll out hours of tape.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
All right. So there's Corinne Jean-Pierre stating that. She said, no, 1,000 times no. And then, of course, you had this one.
And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
All right. So, I mean, look, you really think, and I do believe, and I said this during Nashville's Morning News, I do believe that it has everything to do with Cash Patel. And it has everything to do with the fact that Cash Patel is someone who will look at the Biden crime family, and he'll look at Hunter Biden, and he'll look at Joe Biden, he'll look at Jim Biden, Joe's brother, and all of these other Bidens that magically had some of this money funneling through these shell accounts and going into their bank accounts. And somehow nobody asks, can I ask you a question? If you one day woke up and there was like an additional 10 to 15 to 20,000, whatever it is, if there were thousands of dollars magically that dropped into your account, wouldn't you ask some questions? Of course you would, but not the Bidens. Why? My opinion is because they're corrupt. I love what Jonathan Turley said. He was on Fox News.
And it also shows a degree of contempt for the American people. You know, this is a president who didn't just simply lie about not ever speaking to his son's business associates, of never being in meetings with them, but he lied repeatedly to the American people when he was a candidate for re-election. And he was asked repeatedly, as he was, about meeting his son's clients, and denied that he would do that. And he has now violated that pledge.
All right, and you know what? Jonathan Turley is absolutely right. Phone lines are open, 615-737-9986. Bobby is in Nashville on WTN. Hey, Bobby, thanks for calling in.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing good. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just, y'all was talking about earlier on, that one guy, Patel, not having the experience.
Right.
Well, I was kind of curious on what kind of experience Kamala Harris had even being near the White House, or someone like AOC or anybody like that. And we know they've been lying for 4 freaking years, actually more than that, because the day President Trump started, they've been after this man. And now the public people finally spoke out, and now they're still trying to ruin it.
You're right.
Man, get them, let's wake up and move on and do what Kalama said. Turn the page and get over it.
Thank you very much, Bobby. I appreciate the call. I love Cash Patel. This is a guy, federal prosecutor at the DOJ. He was chief of staff to the U.S. Secretary of Defense during Trump's first term. He was with the U.S. National Security Council. He was senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence, among many other things. Many other things, Cash Patel was. Now, and here's the thing before, and I know if you folks didn't hear Nashville's Morning News, where I typically host 5 to 9, you're screaming at the radio right now, but Dan, what about future investigations? No, I know. I said this 1,000 times today. So here's the deal, is that now that Hunter Biden, he's been given a full pardon, right, for the last 11 years, from January 1st of 2014 all the way to yesterday, then he can't hide behind the fifth. He can't, plead the fifth. So in other words, they can haul him into court, and if they've got some questions about all of these shell companies and why exactly is it that they got all of this money? Was it influence peddling? Why did you get, this money from Romania and this money from Ukraine and this money from that nation and so on and so forth? Why did that Moscow Mayor Moscow widow give you a couple $1 million? Why did all that happen? Because they can haul him into court and he can't plead the fifth. He's already immune. And so then what that means is they might be able to go after the big guy. They might be able to go after Jim Biden, Joe's brother. Maybe some of the other Biden family members. Because when I say that this is a Biden crime family syndicate, it's like the mafia. The way that they peddled all of this influence. And, we talked about this forever here on WTN. So y'all know most of the details, if not all. So me personally, I love the idea of Cash Patel. Mason, isn't there supposed to be some hipster music that brings me into the break? Come on, man. I can't do it without the hipster music. There you go. Dan Mandis in for Chris Hand. The lines are open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You want to hear a little Cash Patel real quick? This is Cash Patel and what he is saying about the FBI.
Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title.
Now, what's going to be interesting to watch is it's really easy to say things on talk shows and podcasts. Actually executing that vision is a whole different story. It's going to be incredible to watch. Looking forward to it. 9:24. Dan in for Chris on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Snowflakes start flying around here later on today. We'll tell you what we can expect. Also, it's Cyber Monday, but there's one thing you'll want to know before you hit the Buy Now button. Those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's right, Joan. It's Cyber Monday.
Yes, sir, it is.
You going to do any... Now, on Cyber Monday, isn't that where you're supposed to, like, stalk people that you don't like? Isn't that what Cyber Monday is all about? No, that's not what it's about.
No, this is a shopping holiday.
Oh.
So now we know what you
I knew I was getting Cyber Monday wrong all these years. I was supposed to be buying something.
Not cyber stalking somebody.
I'm not the stalker, trust me. I don't stalk people.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Occasionally I get stalked. Very occasionally.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
By fans that just want to know so much more about you.
No, I pretty much let it all out there. There really isn't a whole lot left to moving right along. Let's see here. So News with Joan is coming up next. I've got illegal immigration news is coming up next. Dan Mandis in for Chris for the next 30 minutes. Chad Benson will be here 10 to noon, and then noon to 3, and then it's Matt Murphy 3 to 7 in for Brian. Did I get all that right? Okay, good. So here's Joan with the news on WTN.
Yeah, it's 9:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, you won't be able to build a snowman, but we are expecting just a little bit of snow around here later on today.
There are a few flurries and even a passing snow shower we'll have to talk about late this afternoon, heading into the evening, and yes, that could put down some accumulation in some areas. Exactly how much accumulation, though, is something we'll talk about coming up. But I'll tell you this, right now, it is not going to be a shut the city down kind of snowfall, but could be just enough to cause some slick spots, especially in those higher elevations.
Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro there. The complete forecast is just ahead, so stick around. Well, something to consider while you're shopping on this Cyber Monday. More retailers are now charging a fee if you want to return something that you've bought online.
An estimated 40% of retailers now charge return shipping fees, ranging from $5 to $10 per shipment from brands like Zara, H&M, Abercrombie & Fitch, J. Crew, Macy's, and Saks Fifth Avenue. Amazon charges a $1 shipping fee if you return at a UPS store when options like Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh, or Kohl's are closer to your delivery address.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulz there. She says more than $743 billion in merchandise was returned to retailers in 2023. Severely cold temps prompting officials in Nashville now to open an overflow cold shelter on Brick Church Pike. Shelters like this open when the temps hit 32 degrees or lower for more than 3 hours. That's according to the Office of Homeless Services. The shelters provide a hot meal and a bed for the night. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
9:39 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis in for Chris Hand. Chris, hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. Called out today. So Chad Benson is going to be on 10 to 3. And then Matt Murphy in for Brian Wilson. He'll be on from 3 to 7. So I'm here till 10. And darn glad to do it. Democrats, they don't seem to be able to figure out how exactly to react to Donald Trump's mass deportation. Because the problem is that Trump's mass deportation, it's actually really popular. And now the Democrats and people that voted for Kamala Harris, they just don't really understand the world that they're living in right now.
As a guy who spent 34 years deporting illegal aliens, I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
I mean, look, there is no doubt a big reason why Donald Trump won the election is because of illegal immigration. Not only because he is willing to go to the mat for illegal immigration, but also because Joe Biden just let them all in. So whether it's Biden letting them all in or Donald Trump saying, I'm going to kick them all out, either way, illegal immigration was a very big deal. That's Tom Homan. That's Tom Homan, Donald Trump's border czar. And he's talking tough. And the Democrats, they refused to even say during the campaign, remember this? They refused to say the names of like Rachel Marin, Laken Riley, and others killed by illegals. They wouldn't even say the names. Not to mention, and I say this all the time, not to mention all the crimes that didn't actually make national news, but collectively we say thousands of rapes and robberies happened as bad hombres were committing crimes and not being held accountable. And then there was the drugs that come across our southern border. So when Tom Homan, Trump's, again, new border czar, was out on the campaign trail, he was actually talking tough. And the American people listened.
Another message to the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's very cathartic. After hearing for 4 years that, the borders closed and, all these illegal aliens, they're just looking for a better life. A whole bunch of rapes and a whole bunch of murders and a whole bunch of assaults later, the American people love hearing what Tom Homan has to say. And Donald Trump. I mean, all of the stories that are out there. New York and other cities spending millions and millions of dollars housing and caring for all of these illegal aliens. While the American people, veterans, suffering through rampant inflation and high prices. That's what we've been dealing with the last 4 years. Headline from the New York Post, I think this was yesterday or this morning. New York City, listen to this. This is insanity. New York City is now home to over 58,000 criminal migrants. This is not even New York State. This is New York City. They are home to over 58,000 criminal migrants, including more than 1,000 gang members, according to ICE. I mean, that's what's happening in cities all across America. So when you hear Tom Homan say, we're done, I love it. Because the American people are tired of it. And that's insane. When you look at those numbers, so they're coming into our country as criminals. So I don't really understand why anybody would actually want to live in New York City. Yet you still have all these people that are out there, all of these mayors and governors and all these people saying, oh, well, you know what? We're going to use state resources and city resources to try to block Donald Trump, to try to block his immigration policies. But some of these folks don't really know what to do. Like, for example, New York Governor Kathy Hochul. She's really confused.
But we need to fix the border, fix the system. But I'll tell you this, those who come here legally, we want to get them jobs. I have 460,000 open jobs in the state of New York. I want them to get the proper work permits. I want them to keep their temporary protective status, if that's what they have. I want to make sure that they're part of contributing to society while they're here. That's separate from people who are criminals. Someone breaks the law, I'll be the first one to call up ICE and say, get them out of here.
Wow. I love that a Democrat is actually saying, now, I don't know if I believe her, but she's saying that, you know what, I'll be the first one to call ICE. But part of what she said, we have to define what here legally actually means, right? Because there are millions of people that are here that Joe Biden let in with zero vetting. No real appointment with immigration judges. Didn't go through the proper channels to get into our country legally. It basically, for the last 4 years, if we actually caught somebody, if we actually encountered someone, we released them. But in Biden's case, it was a hold my beer moment because he flew them in directly into our cities. And so the likes of Kathy Hochul, she knows that Americans are pissed. And now suddenly they're changing their tune. So now she's ready to call up ICE herself and say, get them out of here? Really? When did all this happen? Why the sudden change in attitude? I would say to Kathy Hochul. So you have New York that kind of sounds like the governor is on board with deporting the bad guys at least, but in California, they're actually going to have a meeting. I think it's going to be today, actually. An emergency legislative meeting to set aside money to battle Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. This is a senator from California, Padilla.
Again, if the first Trump administration is any indicator, we know that there will continue to be a lot of fear in communities, and communities that deserve to know what their rights are and what their rights are not. And so if it's legal assistance, legal advice, legal support, that's just the California way. We embrace our diversity. Our diversity is what's made our communities thrive and our economy thrive. And so we will assist families against the threats of the Trump administration.
The threats of the Trump administration. Forget about the fact that there's all kinds of bad hombres that are now in California. And I do understand, obviously, that not every illegal alien or person who has come across the border over the last 4 years is a violent criminal. But they are criminals if they came in illegally. This is from the Associated Press. California Democrats billed the state as the resistance state during the Trump administration first go-round. And after Trump's victory in the 2024 presidential election, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he would convene an emergency session of the California State Legislature to safeguard California values. Somebody please tell me, what is a California value? I'm from California. I was born and raised in California. And the California that I grew up in and those values are long gone. So I don't, what exactly is it that Gavin Newsom is saying that they need to safeguard California values and fundamental rights in the face of an incoming Trump administration? I don't know what that means. I mean, California values, all right? You're pro-illegal alien, which means that you are pro-MS-13, you're pro-Tren de Aragua, you're pro-gangbangers, and you are anti-legal citizens in this country. And you are pro the crime that goes along with all of this illegal immigration. That's the bottom line. If you want to expand that out as far as this California values go, you're also pro-crime generally speaking. By the way, of course, everyone knows this is where Kamala Harris was the AG and the DA in San Francisco. So, yeah, I would like for somebody to please explain to me, please, Gavin Newsom, explain to all of us what are California values? Because I grew up in California and I used to live there for a lot of years, and all those values that I lived with when I was in California, they're now completely gone. And they're going to use taxpayer dollars of legal citizens in California to fight Donald Trump. That is astonishing. Meantime, this headline, the number of migrants caught illegally crossing the U.S. borders with Mexico and Canada fell in November. A senior U.S. Border Patrol telling Reuters, part of a months-long trend that undercuts President-elect Donald Trump's claim that illegal immigration is out of control. Couple of things. Number one, we had an election on November 5th. So I would be willing to bet that people just said, you know what? We're going to stay home. We're not going to make that dangerous trek because Trump won. And because Donald Trump won, he's going to deport everybody with this mass deportation. So there's no point in going. That's the reason why we need tough talk. So that's number one. Number two is, okay, so how do you actually know? Because you talk to people down at the border, and what they'll tell you is that for those numbers, as they continue to, I'm air quoting, go down, what that actually means is that they're coming in and they're simply finding different ways to come in so that they're not met with resistance from the Border Patrol. Because remember, part of what they've been doing, part of what the Biden administration has been doing all this time is what? They've been manipulating the numbers. Kind of weird. It's kind of like what they did with COVID, right? I mean, it's like the same thing, different issues. Anyway, the phone lines are open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Chad Benson is in the house. He'll be filling in for Chris from 10 to 12. Then he's on noon to 3. And then we have Matt Murphy in for Brian, 3 to 7 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No need to rush the supermarket, but we do have some snow coming our way this afternoon. Also, Metro Police are investigating after an 18-year-old woman was shot to death outside a Nashville after-hours club. Those stories at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
9:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis is out of here. Chad Benson is in for 5 hours, Chad.
I know.
You know what? I've always said 5 hours isn't nearly enough of Chad Benson. I've always said that.
There's never enough of me. There's always more if you want it, because I'm all over the place all the time, 24/7.
You're like an STD.
I am.
It's just, you're hard to get rid of.
Hard to get rid of. Always around. But we'll also help you in situations where you don't want to be with someone.
That is my opening on-air salvo with Chad Benson. I've compared him to an STD.
I'm okay with that.
Anyway, all right. So I haven't actually officially welcomed you to WTN.
I know, we haven't done a crossover yet.
I love your show.
Thank you very much. I love yours.
I've loved your show for many, many years over many different stations, and it is so glad to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm pumped. This is awesome.
So can you explain something to me?
Yes.
What's up with all the fighting in football? Like over the weekend, you have all these colleges.
Michigan and Ohio State.
You had others as well. There was a professional game. And all of a sudden, it's like the NFL is like the NBA.
Yeah. Well, the pro game, the big fight was because of the cheap shot on Pretty Boy.
Yes.
He's very pretty, and he was rigor mortising. I mean, he got hit so hard. And so that I see, right? Like you're that. But the other one was just, let's plant this flag. We own you, and that started a fight.
When did flag planting on somebody's 50-yard line on their logo become a thing if you're the visiting team? Because I'm just going to tell you, and people are going to be like, oh, Dan, you're such a wuss. That's low class, man. Please act like you've been there before.
It's funny because you and I were just touching on this earlier. Do you remember when Terrell Owens? It was the 49ers and the Cowboys when they had their big rivalry. Yep. And I don't know if it was Dion or Terrell that went to the center of the star and he did the big thing, and then they came and hit him. But the flag planting's been there for a while, but this went extra. Because you had a team that was supposed to be in the national championship, had a team that was supposed to beat Michigan. Yep. You had all of the things, and they crapped out at home, and then Michigan rubbed it in their face, and then it got ugly. They got a $100,000 fine each.
Did they really?
Yeah. Right. And cops are investigating because they use pepper spray to break it up. When the cops get involved, it's an ugly situation.
All right, Chad Benson is up next. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Mother Nature's showing up here in the Nashville area this afternoon. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro says we'll get a little bit of snow, from flurries to snow showers, and it'll come just in time for the evening rush.
So this evening, things like interstates and main roads, those should be okay. I'd watch overpasses and bridges, maybe some of those secondary roads in the higher elevations as well. That could have just a couple of slick spots.
Freezing temperatures overnight could mean slippery roads tomorrow morning. We'll have more in the forecast, which is still to come. Cold shelters are open for the homeless in Nashville, and officials say they'll stay open as long as it stays at or under 32 degrees for 3 consecutive hours. The Office of Homeless Services is asking for more volunteers this year. You can contact the office if you'd like to lend a hand. Metro Nashville police investigating a shooting that happened in the early morning hours outside an after-hours club in South Nashville early yesterday. 18-year-old Ashley Dominguez was killed. 2 other women seriously injured. Witnesses say there was a heated argument between the occupants of 2 cars when the shooting began. Closing arguments this morning in the manslaughter trial of Daniel Penny, the Marine veteran accused of killing a menacing subway passenger in 2023.
The defense argued Neely actually died not from a chokehold, but from a genetic condition and drug use. It's all a lot for jurors. They all ride the subway regularly. If Penny is convicted of manslaughter, he could face up to 15 years in prison.
That's ABC's Aaron Katursky. Daniel Penny did not testify in his own behalf here, but the jury did see interrogation video in which he told police he jumped in because Jordan Neely was threatening other passengers. The Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments today on whether the Food and Drug Administration has rightly rejected flavored e-cigarettes to prevent kids from becoming addicted.
The High Court will weigh whether the FDA acted arbitrarily when it rejected e-cigarette flavors such as Jimmy the Juice Man Peachy Strawberry and Iced Pineapple Express. Congress has given the FDA the power to decide whether new tobacco products will protect public health. But since that law was passed, the agency has nearly universally denied requests to produce flavored vapes, citing concerns that kids will become addicted. The makers argue the flavors help adults switch from cigarettes.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow Jones Industrials minus 188 right now, but the NASDAQ is up 147 and the S&P 500 index gaining 3. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I would tell you this right now. If I was President Biden, I'd totally pardon my kid. This whole incentive, I would never have done that. Yes, you would. It's your kid. My God. It's your kid. And you know what? You want to do it before Trump does. Because Trump was total. First thing Trump was going to do wasn't destroy the deep state. Wasn't doing. First thing Trump was going to do is like, let's pardon Hunter because it'll piss everybody off. It'll anger everybody. It'll do all of the things. I got zero problems with it. He's your kid. You're going to pardon your kid. And for those of you out there who think, well, no, he shouldn't have. No, he absolutely should have. And I will tell you this, the same thing I've been saying for years with Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't run for re-election. He doesn't get charged with a thing. It was never going to happen. People are like, well, I bet Alvin Bragg wouldn't have. Now, the civil lawsuit's totally different. That's a different thing. But the other stuff wasn't going to happen. Biden's wasn't going to allow that to happen because he understands what kind of look that would have been. Wasn't going to happen. Same thing here. Now, Hunter did stuff wrong. Let's not pretend that he didn't. But you and I, the average Joe Schmo, right? So let's say Mason here goes and writes an autobiography about Mason's life, and he happens to have maybe partied a little bit and maybe done some drugs and maybe even be on drugs once in a while, and he happens to have purchased a gun. First of all, nobody cares. Secondly, nobody's going to read your autobiography. Sorry about that. It's reality.
Allegedly. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think I might get like 3 purchases.
That's
Who
okay.
knows?
Probably more than
Who
Hunter
knows?
did.
Yeah, you know what?
Although Hunter, man,
That's fair.
Can we
That's
all be
fair.
honest? Like, all kidding aside, how that guy survived. He had enough drugs in him at times to kill an ox.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Definitely make elephants weak in the knees, for sure.
It just, when everybody's like, I got a friend who parties. Like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, this guy, Olympic level partying on a level that most of us could never dream of, even in our best partying days. And by the way, I've never had a smoke. I've never had a drink. I've never done a drug in my life. I'm a teetotaler, as they would say. And that being said, wow. Just listening and hearing stories about his just absolute debauchery. Spectacular.
Yeah, when they talked about mountains of cocaine as an exaggeration, he actually would provide the actual mountains for you.
He would. And for those people who go, well, he doesn't know anything about this. Let me tell you, the people I know that have known Hunter for a long time that had a lot to do with Hunter, never with Burisma or any of that stuff. Hunter was the person that everybody needs in D.C. He's the guy that you call and you go, I need a passport in an hour and a half. Otherwise, I've got a plane to get on. My passport's expired. Just saw that. Hunter makes a phone call to somebody that you would never get a hold of, and that guy has a passport in an hour and a half. Hunter is that guy. I'm watching a TV show called Landman. Best show on television.
I've heard good things.
Everybody needs a landman. That's what John Hamm says to his lawyer. You need to fire Billy Bob. He goes, let me tell you about this. Everybody needs a landman. That guy is everything to everybody. That's what he was. And he took it one step further. And by the way, he was always getting little, what they call chits, right? Like, I give you something, I got a chit in the game. Later on down the line, I may cash this thing out. That's what Hunter was good for. And that's why he was so good at getting all of these deals. Because he didn't need to know anything about him. He just needed to know how to connect you to you. It's good old-fashioned, DC craziness. But as far as, like, the kids... And look, would you pardon your kid? Of course you're going to pardon your kid.
He believes that Hunter Biden was being prosecuted for these crimes because he put the spotlight on the Biden family by running for president. He put the spotlight on his son. He believes that there are things that Hunter has dealt with, and in some ways, some of the issues that he's had over the years that Biden wasn't there in the same way that he might have been as a father, that some of the pressures that came on him from being in the limelight because of who his father was. And so Joe Biden has struggled with this.
Bunch of crap. First of all, Joe Biden, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty damn good grandfather outside of the fact that they don't address, what's her name, Freedom, the little girl? That the stripper's girl? I think her name is Freedom. And then, he says he calls his kid every single day. Most people don't get that. By the way, I don't hear from my mom every single day. And she supposedly likes me. I say that because I was talking to Dan before the show. Because we were talking about Pete Hetzketh, and we'll get into it. But my mom's never, I played soccer in Europe. She never saw me play once. I have been on the radio for 30 years. Never listened to me once. So, settle down with the good parenting. But I think by all accounts, he was a decent parent. And sometimes, by the way, no matter how good you are, things go sideways. Man, things go sideways. But yes, I would have pardoned my kid.
On the minds of people around the Biden family in these weeks now as Donald Trump prepares to take over as president again, is that there may be more selective prosecutions. And there was a feeling among a number of Biden allies that Hunter Biden would be an easy target for a Trump Justice Department looking to make a point. So that is to protect his son, the decision that's been made here.
Yeah. Settle down. He's not coming after anybody. He's not going after anybody. That's like the whole thought process that Trump is going to continue to go after him. He didn't go after Hillary. He's got no want to go after any of these people. Everybody, you guys are going to learn that there's a lot of talk. I'm friends with a lot of people higher. I'm friends with people in the Trump administration. A couple of them very high up. And that's how I know that they were going to pardon him immediately. He actually talked about it. There's a lot of game that gets talked. This was the right thing to do, but he did stuff that was bad. But this thought of they're not like us. They're mini rulers. They're mini royalty. They live in a world that's much different. They have people that plan their days. They have people that circle them all day with, you got to be here, you got to be there, you got to be this, you got to be that. Being in Arizona, I was fortunate a few times to meet Senator McCain. But there were two people that I would deal with out there that are Congress people, that are friends of mine. One of them, 24/7, he's got his black SUV, people around him, etc. The other one, unstated. You wouldn't even know. Same thing with McCain. McCain would show up with one person, his driver. She was with him all the time. That was it. Some of these people I've been with, they've got 5-6 people on staff with them all the time. They live in a different world. It's the reality of it. And yes, he did something that, the gun charge would never have been found out if it was you or I. And are there people in jail? Yeah, they are. But a lot of times they were committing other crimes when they got into the situation. And on the other side of it, as far as the tax evasion, that's a little bit different. And when I hear people, though, on the left go, well, this is good, he did this, but Trump shouldn't do this for January 6th. There are some people in jail for January 6th that need to be there. They tried to do things that Trump wasn't aware of, that they think they had this code with Trump, that they were going to overthrow something, and a vast majority of them got in trouble. You were in the wrong place, and you shouldn't have been there. That doesn't make you a criminal. And yes, I think a lot of those people are going to get pardoned. Not everybody. And I know that's going to piss some people off. Oh, my God, what do you mean? Not everybody's going to be pardoned. Not everybody. But a vast majority of them should be. Absolutely. 100%. And so you'll see that, and this gives them even more of an opportunity to push that through. But what did you expect? I mean, the thought that, this is crazy, that he would pardon his kid is stupid. Now, he could have done clemency. Some of you said, what about that? He could have done a situation where he went in and he basically said, you're still guilty, but nothing counts and we're moving on with our lives. That was always a possibility as well. But alas, here we are. And I'm not, I know a lot of people out there, I think last night were shocked. For my other show that I do, my producer texted me late last night, goes, you were right. I'm like, about what? I go, because I didn't see it. He goes, I said, what did you expect? What did anybody expect in this situation? He's not the worst person on earth. It's done. It's dusted. It gives Trump the opportunity now to pardon a lot of people on January 6th, and we all move on. And this whole thought process that the left is putting out there, that they're going to come after every single person in that is dealt with the left or been part of the Department of Justice, that is also a bunch of crap. You can't listen to any of that. You've got to just go, and this is the way I look at it. I take the action serious, not the words. The actions matter more than the words. You can say all kinds of things and then do nothing. You can say nothing and then do something. The actions matter more. This was an action that you knew a father was going to take.
There was another option here for the president, and that is to grant clemency, meaning he's granted pardons here. That means these convictions go away.
Go away. And I think for a lot of the people, the January 6 people, I think you're going to see that. And I think you're going to see some of them who may get clemency and released, but they're not going to get pardons because some of them came there with ideas that were not good ideas. And I think we saw that. So this will be very interesting. And then on top of that, you've got Cash Patel. And if you don't know who Cash Patel is, oh my God, he's the worst person in the history of the world, according to everybody. Oh my God.
To me, Cash Patel, and I don't say this lightly, is the most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy. And Cash Patel was a key player inside the Trump White House pushing for and orchestrating the coup attempt in 2020. He was trying to completely take control of the Justice Department at the time. He was Trump's top lieutenant who was willing to do anything and advance any lie in service of his attempt to overturn that last election.
Oh, my God. This guy sounds like he's evil. What he is a guy that was educated here and in Britain, who has worked inside of the administration before, worked inside the campaigns, and was also saying a lot of stuff that sells books. Did you know the next day he's going to shut down? He's not going to shut down everything. Here's one thing, and Dan and I were talking about this before we got on our tangent with football and the craziness. People say a lot of things in government, like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then they get into government and they find out, I can't do this, this, and this. No, you can't. So if you're expecting him to get through the nomination process and then go in and shut down the FBI at day one, that isn't going to happen. Now, can he go in there and knock some heads around, get some people out fighting crime? Oh, I think he absolutely can. Can he make it uncomfortable? Yes. And can he do the most important thing? Make it transparent. Because I think that's what most people on the right want. That's what I want. I'm on the right. That's what I want. I want transparency. Let's start with something that has been something all of our lives. JFK. Why can't we know? Why is everything hidden? Why? Tell me why. Let's start with that. And then we can move on to some of the others. But let's start with that thing right there that I find fascinating. Because everybody who's been involved in any way, shape, or form that has got to be dead by now. So you're not going. That's usually when they release stuff. It's like, is everybody dead? Everybody's dead? All right, we can release it now and tell the truth. So this will be interesting to see how this plays itself out. But we'll have more on Cash Patel. A lot of stuff to get today, including more on the football stuff, which I found fascinating this weekend. Watching the fights go on, but also watching teams just crumble, which was, to be honest with you, some of it was hilarious. The whole Michigan thing, he's inside that guy's head. Just, he's living in, and by that I mean, Michigan itself is living inside Day's head. And it's just crazy. Ryan Day's head is nothing but Michigan M, right? The maize and blue. My name's Chad Benson. I am in for Chris Hand. I'll be here till 3 today. And then, of course, because I'm going to be in for Matt. And then Matt's going to be in for Brian. See the way that goes? So be prepared for that. Mason is here as always. This is Chad Benson in for Chris Hand right here on Super Talk 99.7.
Could be a little slick on the roads later on with some snowfall headed our way. And why the White House press secretary won't have to face the music for denying that President Biden would pardon his son. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Like crowds. It's not my jam. Although I'd rather be in front of 1,000 people speaking than one-on-one. I'm not really like that. But I love the hustle and bustle of Christmas. I do. There's something about it, man. I just get out there.
It's just a different energy.
It is. It is. It's fun. You've seen people, their excitement, people shopping. And we took our kids and we just went out and had a little fun because I ate way too much turkey.
Just trying to get the energy back in the body because turkey puts you to sleep, man.
Oh. I think 10 sandwiches.
Oh, really?
My wife laughed. I fell asleep at, I don't know, we had turkey at for whatever reason in this world, I have no idea why Thanksgiving is like, you know what, normally we eat dinner at 6, but today, let's do it at noon, right? So it's like, okay.
Make it last for the whole day.
So we ate about 1. I'm like, oh, I got some tryptophan in me. We'll watch a little football. I woke up and it was like 4:35. And I was like, what the hell happened? Right? It was crazy. I love it.
Yeah, it puts you out. You out.
So I always do this. I have a big thing of turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a turkey sandwich with my turkey. And then I'll have a turkey sandwich at night. I had 4 turkey sandwiches throughout the day, the next day. And I just kept having turkey sandwich after turkey sandwich. We finally finished it off. We dusted it off Saturday.
That sounds great.
It was
fantastic. Honestly, I was like, I lost my chance to have any extra turkey from the house because I worked both days. And I came home. It was like I was ready. I was going to we have these cheesy potatoes that we make. I was going to put that as the base layer on the bread, put some turkey on there. I do raspberry jelly instead of cranberry sauce.
Nice.
As a little mix in there. And it's a killer sandwich. Everything was gone by the time I got home.
Everything gone.
Thanks, family members.
And you can only make turkey sandwiches on white bread.
Oh, absolutely.
There are people that are like, I try honey loaf. No. That is communism. Don't do that. All right? Don't. Silly. But today is Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday started in 2005 as a way to emphasize shopping online, as opposed to Black Friday's in-store shopping. But Engadget's Valentina Palladino says in recent years, that line has blurred.
In the past, I would say 3 to 5 years, Cyber Monday has become less unique in comparison to Black Friday.
That's why she says the day is now more about picking up anything shoppers may have missed out on last week.
Usually the best Black Friday deals you will find on Black Friday proper. Now they extend through Cyber Monday.
And there's a lot of deals out there. So if you're a lady and you're listening to the show, God bless you, Sephora's got big deals. Amazon's always got massive deals. And Lowe's, all those places have huge deals today. They got massive deals on all kinds. There's some places that have 75, Amazon's got stuff for 75% off. That little Chinese kid that's making that, you know how that feels?
I mean,
do you understand that kid's working hard?
Oh my goodness. Not pennies on the dollar, basically.
Pennies on the dollar. So still tons of deals out there. I already got my Christmas tree. We got our Christmas tree.
Is it up?
It's up. Because we've moved out here from Arizona and we don't have our little hook things for the ornaments. So we've got new ornaments. We got everything ready. We just had to get the hook things. And then the elf on the shelf showed up.
Just butting in.
Find
this place.
We got a she elf on the shelf.
Nice.
Yeah. Shenanigans is her name.
That's good.
That's
good.
So my daughter's 6. She came out yesterday. She's like, Dad, there's something in a tree. There's something in a tree. I said, it's an elf on the shelf. You do see that, right? She's drinking, but no. So pretty excited about it. I'm just pumped. And, the thing is, too, coming from Arizona, where it's like being in Australia, where, if you guys don't know, Australia, it's summertime.
Oh,
so if they're surfing, they're doing stuff like that. Arizona's kind of that way. We'll have a bit of cold, but it's just usually from midnight till 3 in the morning. but it was so nice to have a little bit of cloud cover. It felt like winterish kind of thing, which is what I want. And now we're hearing there could be a dusting. I'm like, oh my God, this is great.
Actual snow.
Actual snow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Are you a live tree person or are you a plastic tree person?
I'm a live tree person.
Yeah.
So we went and got these this live tree from this place last week. We went over to the little farmer's market over here off of was it Rosa Parks or whatever?
Yeah,
We went over there.
yeah.
We didn't even know because we were just going to go get some. We got a turkey there. We got all the stuff, and we're like, oh my God, they got trees up. We went over. We saw this tree. We grabbed it. Boom, and they delivered it to us.
Nice.
And so I'm pumped. So we're live trees. I don't
I've
do
always wanted
plastic.
to do one. I was like, I've only done plastic just because it's easier to reuse and easier to light most years. You just leave lights on there, take care of it, and it
Have
works.
you seen the robot tree?
No, I haven't.
So it squishes down almost to the size of a tire.
Oh,
and then you
wow.
take it off, and it goes and erases it. It looks so good.
That's interesting. Whoa.
Yeah, but my thought is it's going to go wrong once, and then you got to throw the whole tree away.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it's like a car jack and a tree in one, though.
Yeah. I've
Just
had
place it
live
underneath.
with my kids, and I've had fake. And I'm cool with the fake, but it's because they're so good looking now. Like 20 years
Yeah.
ago, they were a joke. But
Oh, my goodness.
this year, I said, let's just do live. And the kids were so excited because they got to walk through and pick out the tree.
That's a cool experience.
That's the
I bet.
cool
Yeah, yeah.
experience. So, my name's Chad Benson. I am in for Chris Hand. He'll be back. He should be back tomorrow. All is well with him. So don't get mad at me. Some people are laughing because I said how pretty that Trevor Lawrence was. He is very pretty. He's very pretty. My wife just goes, look how gorgeous he is. He's like Adonis playing football. Well, yesterday he got knocked out. We're going to talk a bit about the chaos in sports. We got some immigration stuff, more on Cash Patel, a lot of other stuff. This is Super Talk 99.7.
It's 10:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, it really is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us there could be flurries and snow showers for the afternoon commute today.
There could be some slick spots on the roadways, even though it's only a dusting to maybe a half an inch in the higher elevations. Because the temperature is so low, it would only take about a dusting to cause some slick spots, especially on overpasses and bridges.
DiPietro saying this is not a shut down the city kind of snow, but better be prepared later on today. Well, for more than a year, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has denied that President Biden would pardon his son Hunter.
You said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear and I said no.
Now, if you were hoping to tune in today and watch the questions flying, forget about it. Fox News reporter Jackie Heinrich says that Biden issued that pardon just before jetting off to Angola late last night, and Karine Jean-Pierre is with him. She will take questions on Air Force One, but they will be off camera. Well, a man has been arrested after allegedly pointing an AR-15 at a driver in another car as they both traveled along on I-24 Saturday. Metro Nashville police say 28-year-old Ryan Bowden was arrested after a police stop in downtown Nashville. He had been previously convicted on a felony gun charge, so he's now charged with a host of felonies, and he's being held on a $122,000 bond. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Doot, 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 doot. What is that? Is that like an alarm clock? What is that, brother?
It's like an exaggerated hand on a clock for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Did you put that together yourself?
No. This is from Royce Boom.
No. I don't have that kind of skill. I know what you're talking about, Jeff.
Yeah. It's all me. It's all me.
Hunter Biden. Some of you are like, I can't believe you would say that he's a good father. Got your kid off. Let's be real. It's a pretty good thing.
Keeping your kid out of jail, that's a pretty good thing.
Right? What's your goal in life, right? Keep your kid out of jail, keep your daughter off the pole. I mean, It's pretty much the most simple thing you could find. And I don't have a problem. I know a lot of people do. They freak out about it. It's like, everybody would have done the same thing. And the people that are saying they wouldn't, like, you would have to hate your kid, or your kid would have had to commit such a heinous crime as to not want to save your kid from something. Because he was facing potentially, I think, up to 25 years is what Dan Abrams said over there at News Nation. That's a lot of years.
Usually the type of gun charge that Hunter Biden was charged with here comes when it's in conjunction with another crime, a violent crime, and there was no such other crime. Mm-hmm. There's been a case made, and I think a fairly convincing case, that if his name had been Hunter Smith, he would not have faced these charges.
It's the same thing. It's the same case made with Donald Trump. If his name was Donald Tripton, we would never be in this situation because nobody would have cared. None. Nobody. Everybody moved on. Because he ran again, it became an issue. And so they did what they did. And here's the other side of it. You know, for those of you on the left, that some of you who've yelled at me, which I'm totally fine with, something I remind you of is, while his name is Hunter Biden, and if it was Smith, it wouldn't have been that way. At the same point, though, I could point to and say, hey, by the way, they ran interference in the Justice Department for Hunter Biden, which wouldn't happen for Hunter Smith. So it all just kind of happens, if you know what I mean. Speaking of running interference, he's coming for you, talking about Cash Patel. He's coming for everybody. He is a stooge, according to some.
Trump just nominated Cash Patel to be the director of the FBI. This guy is the Trumpiest Trump stooge that there is. Forget for a minute that he has no experience running an agency like this. He believes that the 2020 election was stolen, fed the rumors about this deep state trying to get Trump, which was not true. He is the hackiest hack that Trump has in his back pocket. This guy will do anything for Donald Trump. No matter whether it's legal or not, he will do it.
He's going to, whether it's legal or not. He is the Trumpiest Trumpy stooge of all time. And that usually makes me feel good when you have people say that, because he's going to ruffle feathers, which I think he should do. And this is, of course, if he gets confirmed. Because all of this is predicated on if you get confirmed, and there's only going to be so many recess appointments. I think a lot of people think there's just going to be blanket recess appointments if they don't get confirmed. That's not true. It isn't going to happen that way. John Thune isn't going to allow that to happen. And Trump cannot order them to go home. So that isn't going to happen. And everything, like, you got to get through this process. And this process isn't an easy process, but give them the opportunity to have the process. Sit down with them, have a conversation, meet with them, and go for there. It's that simple. But he says all kinds of crazy things. Yeah, he does, because he was selling a book. You do the same thing. You don't tell people about the boring days that you lived inside of a book. You tell everybody the stuff that's salacious, that's juicy. Sometimes, dare I say, you tell stories that aren't even in the book. How many of you have seen a movie where you go and you watch the movie trailer and you're thinking, hey, I came here for that. That wasn't even in it. Because in movie trailers, they get pretty much all of the movie to work with the trailer. That includes all of the stuff that may not even be in the movie, because they don't even know what's going to be in the movie. So they'll cut it up and put together 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever it is, and then they put the trailer out there. Some of that stuff may not make it. It's the same thing. Dude was selling a book, so he says fun stuff.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Which would be great. Look, I'll take a bigger government that's competent, which you're never going to get, over a smaller government that's incompetent, which you're never going to get a smaller one, so it doesn't really matter. And the deep state that he talks about, and the deep state that is real, that exists in the way that we want to always think that there's a monster, right? That there's a bunch of men, right? The Rothschilds, right? You know, have you seen the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer? I'm dating myself, you know? Kentucky Fried Chicken. The Colonel and his BTIs, right? Like there's this group of people, the Bilderbergers, who are pulling strings and doing certain things. Yeah, they're looking out for their own interest, and they all have leverage because they have money, but at the same time, government's still government. The deep state that is out there is the deep state that is even more terrifying. It's the average person that works for the government, that cares about their job first, their pension second, and whether or not they can be mobile in their job. So is my safety my job? Great. Now, can I move up? Can I move laterally? Will you give me a chance to jump up somewhere else? That's what they care about more than anything else. And because of that layer of bureaucracy is another layer of bureaucracy, is another layer of bureaucracy. Hence the reason why it takes forever to get anything done, because you have to fill out paperwork like you cannot believe just to get something done from a local level all the way up through the federal government. Now you start to realize, oh my God, federal government is the largest, this is what's crazy, the largest lobbyist of government is government. That's the scary part of this. Now, do I think that he's the worst? When I hear say, well, he's got no experience. Christopher Wray didn't have experience. You go back through all of the Very little of them had any, most of them weren't even FBI agents, let alone have any experience in running agencies. Cash Patel has had some experience doing stuff. There's no doubt the guy's got it together. Now, here's the thing, and I want you guys should shoot me a text. What's the text line there? Because I always screw up the text line, Mason. You know it. Don't screw up, Mason.
The number, 615-737-9986. Same number as that call line.
Same number as the call line, which I wouldn't even know where it is, man. You're not a helper.
You're good, man. That's what I'm here for.
That's what he's there for. That's what we're paying for. That's why he gets minimum wage plus $1. The reality...
It's $1.50.
$1.50, I'm sorry. The reality of, like, when I look at all this stuff is everybody talks a great game. They're going to get in there. Are you going to be upset, though, when he doesn't close it day one? Are you going to be upset when the weeding out that everybody thinks is going to happen day one doesn't happen the way that people think it's going to happen? Because I think everybody thinks that the moment that he gets in there, that he is just going to eliminate everything in a heartbeat. And that includes everybody who's going after the deep state and bureaucracy. The most important part of going after, quote unquote, the deep state and bureaucracy is the Doge. That's more important than anything else. Because they're the ones who are going to look at stuff and go, these agencies are too much. We're too top heavy here. These agencies, we give them billions of dollars. They don't produce anything. We need to figure out how we cut there. Those are more important than a lot of these other things.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators.
They hate us because they ain't us. He's selling a book. You say crazy things when you sell a book. He's not a dictator. And when he gets in, here's the thing. Everybody knows that. He's going to get into a situation where he sits down with senators and he says, look, you guys aren't selling a book. That's what I'm doing. No, I'm not going to destroy this entire thing because there's no way that even people on the right, they could find 4 or 5 that goes, you're not going to destroy the FBI. You're not going to do any of these things. So he knows that there's a place you walk. Exposing, though, and being more transparent is what you want. Because the reality is, even if you never go after anybody and prosecute anybody, if you expose it for the insanity that was, if you expose it for the filth and the craziness and the going after people, if you expose it for those things, enough damage will be done that you don't have to worry about all of the other stuff. And trust me, there's plenty of them. And there is. But listening to everybody, like Andrew McCabe, remember him? This guy's a clown.
Yeah, well, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. Cash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job. It's not even like a matter for debate. What we should really be thinking about right now is what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI?
I think it's to put on notice you're here to catch bad guys. That's what you're here to do. You're not here to go after the average American. You're not here to go after somebody who was at a pro-life thing. You're not here to do any of those things. You're not here to go after somebody with a Facebook post that you don't like. You're here to go catch bad guys and to let them know you're coming. And you're not here to play politics. And so much of the politics they're playing has very little to do with right or left. It has all to do with save my job. How do I save my job? How do I make sure my pension's there? I just need to make it to here, then I got a pension. That's going to be great. And if I get to here and the pension's great, but across the street, K Street, for those of you guys who don't know, that's where all the lobbyists are in D.C., how do I get to K Street where instead of making $85,000 a year with a pension that'll match it all the way through my life and give me all full benefits and I have those clearances those gals get, those things are worth millions of dollars. How do I get to keep that, go across the street to K Street and make $400,000 a year from jump? That's what we need to worry about. That's the evil bureaucracy, deep state game that's played. Because I got friends who play it, man. I got a couple friends who were lobbyists, who worked in government, went back to the lobbyists, went back to... I have a friend who double dipped. He retired, got the same job, and is double dipping at 6 figures easy. And very... Why would he do that? Because he can. Because we've allowed that to happen. We've allowed government to become so big, so cumbersome, so wacky. We need that. And yes, and I want the transparency. I want to see what's going on. Why are you hiding things? Why? Look, and Cash Patel even came out. Look, he goes, there's a lot of stuff that we should not see. I'm totally fine with that. There's a lot of stuff that we should be able to see. And if some of those things would hurt agencies because they've done bad things against our own government, we should absolutely see those. And if you don't want to see those, that's crazy. It is crazy. Like if they came out and said, all right, here's the deal. And this is all hypothetical, so don't get mad at me. You know what? We'll do it after the break because this one's a good one. This one, I promise, is a good one. My name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Chris Hand. Then I'll be in again for Matt Murphy, who will be in for Brian Wilson, who's being on tour with the Beach Boys. So that's fantastic as well. This is Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
A Murfreesboro family racing to save their 13-year-old son, and the U.S. Postal Service suspended operations with one country where you don't want to try to send a package. These stories and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I can't wait for that. Find out what package you're not sending somewhere. What country could that be? There are plenty. I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted about JFK. And I said, I'm going to tell you guys this. If there was an agency that was involved in taking, and this is all hypothetical, so don't be going, oh my God. Or it's not, I mean, we can have fun because JFK is the one, like UFOs, JFK, those are the conspiracy theories that everybody has a thought on. Whether you believe in conspiracy theories or not, everybody's got a thought on those things. What if an agency did take him out? Well, what would that do to agencies? Well, that one agency would be done for, period, case closed. What if we found out that JFK was dirty and JFK was going to sell us out to the Russians and JFK was all about this? What if that? Then it would make sense. Either way, it's time to find out. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So let's find out. It's not hard. Everybody's dead, and the ones who aren't dead, nobody's putting them in jail. Nobody is. They're 115 years old. Nobody's putting them in jail. So let's find out the real story. And what about some of the other stuff? One of the things that Cash Patel wants to do is something I think we could all agree with. Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who?
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. They do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game.
And he said government gangsters again. Notice that he says that a lot in these. That's his book he's selling. So understand that there's a lot in there, the book. And absolutely want to know what's in a lot of these things. 100%. Some of these things, though, and he's even talked about this, which they never bring up, is he said, look, we don't need to know everything. There's some things that need to be classified, some things that need to be kept secret. There is no doubt about that. But not everything does. And some stuff has been kept secret way too long. And we know the reason they're kept secret is because it doesn't shed a good light on a certain agency or two. Just pointing that out there. My name's Chad Benson. I am in for Chris Hand. He should be back tomorrow. And then I'll be in again for Matt Murphy. And Matt Murphy will be in for Brian. You see where we're going with this. Super Talk 99.7.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. President Biden's press secretary seemingly trying to justify President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter Biden in his 2 federal cases after swearing for months he would not pardon his son. Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, put it this way to reporters on Air Force One as Biden traveled to Africa today.
Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently.
Well, ABC chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce says President Biden's stance changed after President-elect Trump announced his selection to head up the FBI. That's when it all changed.
President Biden clearly did not want to leave his son's fate in the hands of Trump's Justice Department. Now, in a statement and a post, Trump says the pardon is the abuse and miscarriage of justice here, while in a statement, his spokesman argues the president's move underscores Trump's claims that the Justice Department has been weaponized, saying, quote, that must be fixed, and saying that is what Trump intends to do when he returns to the White House.
Yeah, the pardon Biden granted Hunter covers not just the crimes Hunter Biden's been charged with, but any federal crime he might have committed going back to 2014. Here in Middle Tennessee, a Murfreesboro family is racing against time to find a kidney donor for their 13-year-old son who is in stage 4 kidney failure. Levin Wilson received a cadaver kidney transplant earlier this year, but the kidney is failing. His dad, Elijah, telling Channel 4 no one in his family qualifies as a donor.
Do you have faith that you will find someone?
I gotta have faith. It's the only thing that can save my son.
Levin's donor needs to be under the age of 40 with O-positive blood. There is an Angel Link fundraiser for Levin Wilson, where you can also find information about how to test to become a donor. Shoppers who didn't find what they were looking for at the mall over the weekend will be logging on today to take advantage of Cyber Monday deals. At the same time, scammers are hoping to take advantage of those shoppers.
Fraudsters know that billions will be spent on this Cyber Monday and that millions of consumers will be waiting for deliveries. So scammers send out mass text messages that purport to come from the post office, saying that a package is waiting for delivery, except that
they said I needed to enter my credit card information to get it re-delivered, and I did it one time.
Soon, Sage Owen saw suspicious activity.
I immediately called and canceled the card.
The U.S. Postal Service says it does not send out that kind of text message.
And if
Jim
you're trying,
Ryan, ABC News.
Sorry about that, Jim. If you're trying to ship packages or cards to Canada, they may not get there in time. That's because the U.S. Postal Service has suspended service to Canada. Workers for the Canadian version of the Postal Service are on strike. Have been since November 15th. The U.S. says it won't attempt to send any mail until the situation improves. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
All righty. I would have done it. Some of you said I would never have done it. You're lying. You're not going to let your kid go to jail if you have the power to get them out on stuff that normal people wouldn't have probably gone to jail for. You're not. I know a lot of people like, I would have done it to teach them. You're not letting your kid go to jail for potentially 25 years to teach them a lesson. This wasn't them staying overnight. I wouldn't have done it. You would have totally done it. And if you didn't, you'd be a crappy parent. especially if your kid was on a path that he's been sober for 5 years. And I'm going to say this. Having dealt with alcohol and drug abuse in my family, my mother was an alcoholic, my father died of an overdose. I will tell you this right now. It is evil and bad, and it is absolutely the worst thing, watching somebody fight demons. And I only wish him the best. You may think he's a scumbag. You may think all of those things, and those things may be true. But I do wish him the best because that's who I am. That's who we all are, right? Especially if you're a believer in God, right? You don't want him to fail. You don't have to like his politics. You don't like who he is and the stuff and the way he scammed America. Really did scam America. He did what all other people do in that situation. He used his position and his name to enrich himself. And it sucks that that's the way our process works inside of government and selling favors and selling access, but it's reality. But as a parent, you would absolutely. Now, if your kid was in the throngs of massive addiction still, and you had a chance to put him away, where it would be a position where you're like, you know what? He's not going to have the chance to get drugs the way he is. This may be a way to straighten him out. This might be the best thing. Then okay, that's one thing. But you're not going to send him away for 25 years. This just isn't going to happen. I know a lot of people think that. The reality is, you're probably lying to yourself.
Republicans respond to a step the president insisted he wouldn't take, saying it proves Joe Biden can't be trusted. Many Democrats are supportive of the pardon, saying Hunter Biden would have never been prosecuted if he weren't the president's son. But others say the move undermines a notion the president has tried to advance, that no one is above the law. The pardon he granted to his son covers not just the crimes Hunter Biden's been charged with, but any federal crime he might have committed going back to 2014.
Which is interesting. Now, he could have gotten clemency, which is essentially, yeah, you're convicted of all these things, but you don't have to serve out your punishment. It's done. That's wiped away. He didn't do that. He wiped everything away, which, you know, we can have a discussion about that. Because the whole goal was for your kid not to be in jail, right? That was the whole goal of this. But the reality is he enriched you. You played part of the game. He took one for the team. Even Dan Abrams, who is, you know, he's not a lefty, he's not a righty. He's pretty, squarely in the middle. Maybe leans to the left. Said, look, we can talk about the gun thing. The gun thing is, you're normally in trouble for this when you commit another crime with the gun. So, but he goes, it's a little bit, as he called it, squishy when it came to the tax side of things. There's no doubt. But they're going to keep going back on, well, it is only because his name was Biden.
It's notable that before he actually was charged with this, he paid his income taxes, including the interest payments and the penalties. But for 2 years, he did not pay income taxes. But it's quite clear that he faced this extraordinary circumstance of a special counsel investigating these charges largely because he was the president's son.
Well, and just like Trump was basically attacked because he came back and he didn't go away, and he wouldn't have been, if he would have stepped away, they were never coming after Trump. He knew that, but he came back anyways. So, because much like Trump with the likes of Hillary, he could have probably easily gone after Hillary. Chose not to, because the game that is played, the full contact game of politics, is let's come hard, let's go hard, let's do everything and then some. And then once it's over and done with, we all move on with our life and we don't continue to go after. So there's no doubt in my mind, and I've talked to several people in the Trump campaign, one of which is very high up there, who tells me all the time, he knows that they would never come after. Trump knows they were never going to come after him had he not gone through. Even if they would have said, the DOJ would have said, we're not coming after Trump. The Jack Smith thing would have never happened. Mar-a-Lago would have never happened. I mean, none of that stuff would have ever happened. If none of that stuff ever happened, even if Fonnie Willis and the likes of Alvin Bragg would have tried it, they would have come down and said, you're not doing this. We need to just let it go. We need to. I'm curious about the 10-year thing. That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. The 10 years. So, and that's what they tried to get on the, if you guys remember, part of the DOJ was like, they wouldn't have gone after him if his name wasn't Hunter. True. But they also tried to protect him because his last name was Biden. So let's not forget that. And one of the deals they tried to slip past, do you remember the gun deal that they tried to slip past the judge? And she's like, whoa. Says here that you have immunity for 10 years. What the hell is this all about? 10 years for stuff that you're not even named in any of these things. And when it came to the tax thing, I want to point things out as they just talk about. The difference between not paying your taxes and tax evasion he tried to evade taxes. He lied about certain things. Like, remember one of the memberships was a sex club membership? He tried to put it down like it was his 24-hour fitness membership. Like, he tried to do things that, well, normal, sane people wouldn't have done. So there's a difference between not paying your taxes and trying to evade and or hide income and stuff like that, which a lot of this. And the other thing is, let's not forget, he didn't pay his taxes. Some rich Hollywood dude paid all of his back taxes and fines. You're not doing that for, you would have to be a really good pal, and I would have to have so much money, right? And all of us have that friend or two. It's like, dude, I would never let anything happen to that guy. And if I have the money, I'll take care of him. But come on, some rich Hollywood guy? Please. Now the question is, what happens here? He, earlier today, Jean-Pierre trying to answer questions, not, by the way, in front of the media the way that we would think, because they're all on the way to Africa for something. I'm not quite sure what they're going over. Probably his leg. He's taking his last hurrah trips, having to answer questions about, would this have happened here? Should this have happened?
Look, I'm not gonna get into the election. It is a no. I can answer that. It is a no. And what I can say,
this would not have happened if Harris hadn't lost the election. The pardon would not have happened if Harris hadn't lost the election.
I can speak to where we are today, and so I can't speak to hypotheticals here. Where we are today, the president made this decision over the weekend.
Yeah, as you would do. It's funny, somebody just said, this is BS. I'm changing the channel because how dare you tell me what I would have done? Are you going to let your kid rot in jail for something that you played a part in, maybe, by the way? Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that there is a situation where he played a part in some of this. The big guy did. Hence the reason there was a guilty plea, because he knew somewhere down the line that he was going to take one for the team. So let me ask you this. Would you go to jail for your kid? No. Would you send your kid to jail if he maybe helped you out, did some things, sold access, and then took a fall, and you had the chance to get him out of jail, no questions asked? Would you do that? All things that are fair. Things to ask. But at the end of the day, this was going to happen. Trump was going to do it. And that was the other thing. The last thing they wanted was Trump doing it. How funny would that have been? First thing, you're free. If you go back to Nixon, what's the first thing that happened after Nixon? They pardoned him. Why? Because they said, we need to move on with our future. We need to move on. We can't be looking backwards. We need to move forward. And that's what happened. And that's what should be done. Need to move forward. So we're all moving on because we got bigger things to do. Like immigration, for instance. I found this attractive in the insane way. Sometimes I'll sit there and go, this is just so attractive. How can you not talk about this? If you're thinking to yourself, I've got somebody that's a friend of mine that should not be in this country, and they're not here on asylum. I want to point this out, the difference between asylum. You come across the border, right? So Mason comes across the border and he sneaks in. He's a got-away, right? Totally got away. Ken comes across the border. He goes to a port of entry, says, I am here. I need asylum. Ken can be in the country legally. Mason, we got to get rid of. Got to get rid of you, Mason. We got to catch you. We got to get rid of you.
If you can catch me.
If you can, I think you can.
Catch me. Yeah, you probably can. Not a quick runner.
I'm going to point that out. Mason and I probably aren't the fleetest of foot. chances of catching us would probably be very easy.
Yeah.
Ken, I'm not quite sure how fast Ken is.
I'm
Ken,
a shapeshifter.
You're a shapeshifter. He is. He's got a cold, though, so stay away from him.
Yeah.
So, and this is the thing, and we're going to talk about this because this lady put something out there that is spectacular. But I always want to break down the reality of everybody thinks that, okay, there's 11, 12, 15, 22. I don't even know how many people are here. I mean, what would be your educated guess? 22, 24 million people?
Yeah, right about.
Yeah. Out of that, I would say 15 of them are probably here and they shouldn't be. And I'm not talking about asylum. If you've applied for asylum, you're here legally. So there is this thought that anybody who's even applied for asylum, they're going to round up and throw out, which is it's just so bizarre because people don't know the laws. They don't know the rules. Even people that are championing, let's keep them here. They don't even understand the rules. So if somebody's come here, you guys have no idea how long it is in some places. Some places you're looking at 5 to 10 years before you ever get in front of a judge. That doesn't even include appeals, things of that nature. But if you're wondering what to get that special someone who may be tossed out of the country, but you need to communicate.
So here's what you're going to do in this last holiday season we have before a Trump presidency. Whenever you travel, you are going to stop at a store that is not in the town where you are from. And you are going to go and you will purchase a phone and a minutes card with cash. You will then take that phone and wrap it in the most obnoxious Christmas wrapping paper you can find with a really pretty bow, and you're going to give it to somebody within your circle who is at risk of having to flee.
Okay, so that's what you're going to do. So you guys got that? Burner phone, pay for cash, somebody who might have to flee.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who find themselves within that demographic now. This is the perfect gift to them because you are giving them a burner phone that people would have a very difficult time tracing back to them should they have to flee. Take full advantage of the holiday season where we can gift our friends things that might incriminate them should they have to buy it themselves.
Fantastic. So that's what you guys got to do this holiday season. We got more on this lunacy. And she probably thinks that everybody who's here from asylum is also going to be a roundup. And that's not the way it works. Here's the one thing. You can dislike Tom Holman. You can dislike a lot of the government because there's a lot of you out there that dislike a lot of that stuff. The reality is, though, they do follow the law. And the law says if you're here under asylum, you aren't going to be deported unless you committed a crime. Then you can be. And we'll get deeper into that. Plenty of stuff to get into. Some of your text messages as well. Appreciate that. It is crazy out there. I will tell you this, kids. A lot of you upset about Hunter being pardoned. Take a deep breath. It's okay. Okay? We're going to get through this together. My name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Chris Hand. This is Super Talk 99.7.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
A chance for snow here in Middle Tennessee? We've got full details coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Nice. I'll let it get into some of the craze and some of the funk. You know what I'm saying, man?
Bro, Chris has great beds, man.
I like it.
I love them.
Several of you chimed in about the Hunter Biden thing. Some of you are very passionate about it. One of the things I said at the beginning is, yeah, you were a part of this whole nightmare. We've talked about it for a while, so maybe you're hearing stuff out of the order. Secondly, I've said this also from the beginning. If it's a heinous crime, right? Murder, sex crimes, things of that nature, you're going to let your kid go to jail because your kid committed that kind of crime. That's a different story. These were none of those things. And you may have played a part in it. Right? And it wasn't because you weren't there as a father. It was because you were collecting off the favors your kids were getting, and you were charging them rent, if you will. And you could say all day, well, you only came after him because he was my kid. No, that's not true. And the other reason, apparently, is because of Cash Patel. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, that's the lunacy in this one.
Cash Patel has made it abundantly clear over the last few months of the campaign and really over the last 2 years that he believes that the FBI and the Justice Department needs to be entirely refocused to look at Donald Trump's enemies. I mean, Cash Patel is the FBI director for retribution.
But it sounds great, right? Like it does. Retribution. Let me tell you what Trump has. Trump has 16 to 18 months to get rocking and rolling, because after that, the midterms come quick. And if things aren't rocking and rolling, if the economy's rocking, if we've gotten out of the 2 wars and all of the stuff, if we've moved in that direction that is great, then guess what? It's a win. If it looks like that you've spent 2 years hunting to get retribution and you've got nothing out of it, if it looks like you spent 2 years doing everything that has to do with you, then those midterms could be ugly, which means what? You're going to spend the next 2 years as a lame duck. And you don't want that. Republicans have more seats to defend in this next one when it comes up to midterms in the Senate, and it's still razor thin in the House. So there's lots to do. A lot of it sounds good, and a lot of it is great theater, because everybody does love theater in politics. Who doesn't love a good theater? Oh, I love theater in politics. What do they always say? What's the old saying? The old saying is politics is showbiz for ugly people. So this is a lot of theaters as much as anything else. And Cash Patel, if he gets confirmed, and this is always a big if, because we don't know if he will be confirmed. Just like Pete Hegseth. I don't know if he's going to be confirmed. What I do know, though, is there are some questions about him that he needs to answer, and let's give him the chance to answer them. Let's do that. Well, he could be a philanderer. Could be. Absolutely. Could be a guy that is a womanizer. Did he beat people? Did he destroy these women? Did he do anything like that? Did he do anything violent? Well, then there's some serious issues there. I think most of you would agree with that. But it's funny because we'll put blinders on for quote unquote our side. And we want the blinders off on the other side. So all of this will come out in the wash, and we'll see what it looks like. But the whole thought that Cash Patel is going to spend every waking moment figuring out how to destroy the FBI. And one of the things he did talk about, though, is they talked about Hoover. And even the leftists talked, well, Hoover did this, and Hoover did, J. Edgar did this, and J. Edgar did that. Wait a minute. What you're telling me is there could be an agency that could be absolutely corrupt? That could be hell-bent on political retribution? You're telling me all of those things? That seems a bit weird. Does it? Doesn't seem that weird. Not at all. Seems like the reality of what can happen when agencies run amok. And I would like to see what Cash Patel has to say. But to think that he was going to go in there, destroy everything the first day, rebuild it, and the first thing he was going to do was go after Hunter Biden is crazy. It's never, ever going to happen like that. Just wasn't. I think a lot of people, I said earlier, it's time to move on. And some people are like, it's not time to, well, you have to move on. Here's one thing. If you want to go forward in life, looking backwards while trying to go forwards is never a good thing. Doesn't mean you don't forget. Doesn't mean when opportunity doesn't present yourself, you don't look at some stuff. But if you focused only on the past, you can't move forward and do the things you need to do. And Trump has work to do. We're going to talk about Ukraine here in a little bit. It's kind of crazy how this is moving with Ukraine. Over the weekend, if you guys didn't hear, Zelensky came out and said, all right, I'm willing to give up a little bit. I'm willing to do this, but I need some assurances, something that's been said for quite a while. On the other side, even a couple top Democrats came out and said, hey, the fact that Hamas and Hezbollah and all these people are talking about some sort of, even if it's a 60-day peace agreement, that's not happening with Biden. It's not. So that, too, is a bit of a win. Why? Because of Trump. A lot of it has to do with Trump. Hate him all you want out there on the left, but the reality is it's about getting stuff done. And he does. For whatever reason, whatever the left thinks, he gets stuff done. Whatever the people on in the foreign side of the world, if you will, whether it's throughout the Middle East or parts of Ukraine and parts of Europe, if it gets done, and that's a win. That's all that matters. No doubt about that. So, a lot to get to. We're going to talk a little bit about immigration as well. You reach out to us across all. You can text the program. You can reach out to me directly at Chad Benson Show. That's my Twitter right there. Appreciate it when you do. Got a lot of stuff. Really quick, there's a lot of weather out there. Are we going to get snow? Tell me we're going to get some snow.
It looks like we might get some snow.
Like where would we might get some snow?
The mid-state, they say.
So there we go.
That's kind of how they do. That's kind of how they forecast snow here.
They point at the map and they go, maybe around here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a wide brushstroke.
There we go. Fantastic. Inside of Tennessee, we might get some snow. A bunch of other stuff coming up. My name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Chris Hand. This is the Chris Hand Show at Super Talk 99.7.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. A chance for snow showers during the afternoon drive. Here's Channel 4's Cruz Medina.
I want to give you a quick preview of this snow. So this is a quick-moving system. It's what we call a clipper system, and it's going to do just that. It's going to clip the mid-state. It's fast-moving, and this arrives right through the evening commute. So watch some of these snow showers fill in through the middle of the afternoon. Those should still be up in southern Kentucky. They'll migrate to the south 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. I think that's when we're seeing some of those persistent snow showers moving on through, and those will slide to the south as we go into this evening.
Yeah, right now it looks like less than an inch here in Middle Tennessee, but temperatures will be dropping down in a big way. We'll tell you more during the full forecast in 4 minutes. White House officials answering questions about President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter Biden in his 2 federal cases.
Came to this decision this weekend, so let's be very clear about that. He says it himself.
That's White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre speaking to reporters on Air Force One as Biden traveled to Africa today. She went on further.
He said he wrestled with this, and because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice.
Well, the pardon Biden granted his son covers not just the crimes Hunter Biden's been charged with, but any federal crime he might have committed going back to 2014. Closing arguments today in a subway chokehold case that sparked protests across New York City last year. Marine veteran Daniel Penny charged with manslaughter and negligent homicide in the death of Jordan Neely, a homeless man accused of violently harassing subway riders. Here's ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer on defense arguments.
The defense raised the argument that it was either sickle cell anemia or the amount of synthetic marijuana in the system that killed Jordan Neely and not the chokehold. So I think those are going to be the 2 major aspects of this case.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Like this. Look at you with the beds, man. The ones and the twos. Mason on the ones and the twos.
It's keeping things interesting, bro.
Somebody, so we're texting back and forth. Somebody said they should go after Biden. Crime is a crime. He took money from foreign countries and he withheld money. Then go after him. Trump's not going to, though. He didn't go after Hillary, is what I said. He could have, but he didn't. Because at some point in time, you've got to focus on other things. And this is the thing I temper everybody who's a Trump supporter, and there's plenty of you out there, and some of you that hate him. The best revenge is the country moving forward and kicking butt. Period. Case closed. You know, if the sole goal is to destroy your enemies, and if everything goes sideways with the country, then you're going to lose elections. And you can't move forward and lose elections. See the Democrats. See the Democrats. Their goal was to beat Trump at all cost. Didn't matter. You got to do it. You got to beat him. He's just the worst. He's Adolf Hitler. Right? Like, that was the whole goal. He's going to destroy the world. It's like Adolf Hitler. I don't know. Adolf killed like 50 million people when he started the war. Trump had to kill at least as many. Clowns. It's not it. The goal is to win and to keep winning by moving the country forward. Yes, exposing the BS, but not making it the only thing, which is what some people want. Period. Case closed. Let's move away from that and talk about immigration. The mayor of Tucson. It's really called Tucson. I just want to let you guys know that. Coming from there, I live dead square in the middle. So we still have a house there we're trying to sell. If anybody would like to buy a house out there, I call it the Valley of the Dirt People. You know what's out there? Dirt! That's what's out there. Nothing. You guys have no idea. Just dirt. There's nothing else. We don't have trees. Somebody texted in and said, you know, coming from Minnesota, Tennessee snow is not really that big of a deal. And like, coming from Arizona, we have to put snow in a book so kids can understand that. That being said, This is the mayor of Tucson.
I am deeply troubled by President-elect Trump's plans for mass deportation. I believe they are cruel and immoral. I will work with our police chief to make sure that our focus remains on protecting and serving Tucsonans. I am unwavering in my commitment to this fight.
Unwavering. Some people waver. She is unwavering. She's very woke, by the way. She kind of follows the California model of stupidity, which is, let's not have bail, and let's not call a crime, and let's not do all of these things. And so just let you guys know that. California, on the other hand, is getting ready to reconvene. Special group getting together, talk about how they can spend how much money trying to make sure that nobody is ever deported.
The governor has called a special session that will convene this week to set aside money to battle the Trump administration. Will some of that money also be set aside to protect migrants and undocumented immigrants in California as they seek either legal advice or continued legal financial backing to support their efforts to stay within California and the United States?
If the first Trump administration is any indicator, we know that there will continue to be a lot of fear in communities, and communities that deserve to know what their rights are and what their...
What are their rights? Well, the rights are, as I explained earlier, if you're here via the asylum process, you've got nothing to worry about. If you aren't here and you're what they call a gotaway, that means, let's go over this again. There's Ken. Ken wanders into the port, says, I'm here because I was in Kenlandia and it's turned against me and they want to kill me. I'm a political refugee. And they say, well, you're welcome to come in here and apply for asylum. There, boom, you go in. Mason goes, I can't do that. Like, I can't. There's nothing I can do. I got to, and Mason sneaks in, stealth-like, just dodging the cameras, weaving everywhere, gets into the country. He's a gotaway. We don't know who he is. He can be deported immediately. Ken cannot because he's here on asylum. I just want to point that out.
If it's legal assistance, legal advice, legal support, that's just the California way. We embrace our diversity. Our diversity is what's made our communities thrive and our economy thrive. And so we will assist families against the threats of the Trump administration.
They're going to resist. They're going to do everything they can to resist. All of it's about resisting. Tom Holman has been clear. You know what I saw this weekend? Kathy Hochul, if you didn't see it, it was on Wednesday afternoon. So she's the governor of New York, which is a state. There's a city called New York and a state. She's the governor. She said, if you're here via asylum, which there's 250,000 plus that are in New York. How's that working out for you guys? Yeah, you didn't think that was going to go that well. Governor Abbott, we're looking at you. I thought it was kind of a publicity ploy, but it worked out really well. That being said, she said, if you've come here and you're not supposed to be here and you commit a crime and we catch you, damn right you're going home, as you should be. We're going to hand you over fast. If you are here on asylum, no. It's not that hard. People don't quite get it. Tom Holman.
But I'll give her the same warning I'm giving the rest of the sanctuary city mayors and the governors. You can not help us. That's fine. You should get the hell out of the way then because we're going to do the job. President Trump has said public safety threats and national security threats will be the priority right out of the gate. And I can't believe there's any elected official that doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities. Their number one responsibility is protecting the communities. So if they're not going to do it, we'll do it for them. You can not help, but don't impede us and do not knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE because that is a felony.
Amen. Amen. Here's something, and I'm going to throw this out there. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know. Tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. You can text the program. Mason, the text number is
615-737-9986.
Mason, ladies and gentlemen, snuck into the country illegally, but we're still going to put him to work. It's funny. We're just driving down the street, and we just rolled up to like a Home Depot. We're like, we need one. We need
outside
one.
your local Lowe's.
So this is what I would do if I was the federal government and you had the power to. Because I think you do, especially in cases like these, because one of the few things the federal government is actually charged with, tasked with, is immigration. If you are a city or a state that is all sanctuary, so you're all sanctuary, and you knowingly have somebody that we're asking for. We're saying so-and-so's on this list. There's an order to remove, and they're in custody. So they're in custody now. So we're not even talking about somebody. So that means they've committed some sort of crime. And you willingly block ICE from getting them, and you slip them out the back. They go on and commit another crime and or kill or hurt somebody. You should be liable criminally, and you should be liable when it comes to the fiscal side of things as well, because you would harbor somebody and allow them. That is me. Because, government, even state and local, they can get away with stuff that others just can't.
President Trump has made it clear. We're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats right out of the gate because they pose the most danger to this country. What governor or mayor doesn't want public safety threats and national security threats out of their neighborhoods, out of their communities? That's your number one responsibility. So you can hate Trump all you want, but you got to love your community more than you hate President Trump.
Tom Homan right there, and he's absolutely correct. And we need to emphasize over and over again that this isn't about the little lady down the street that cleans some houses, right? This isn't about that. This isn't about the guy that has been here for 12 years and he's under the radar, but he cuts the lawn and he's got a little business, has a couple of kids. These are people that have first and foremost, are the criminals that are here, that we know are in this country because we swung and missed at the border when going to find out if they should be here. We then know that they've committed crimes while here. And in some cases, they're in custody. In some cases, and I talked about this on Friday, you're not letting some of these people go because all that would happen is we're going to deport them to some place where they're going to turn around and come back. And we can't afford that because they've either committed a crime, a sexual assault, rape, murder. We're not allowing that to happen. We can't. So knowing that we have 1.3 to 1.7 million, depending on who you talk to, people that are here with orders to remove, plus we've got God knows how many people we swung and missed with at the border. What do I mean by that? So there are a lot of countries that we have no idea because we have no diplomatic relationship with them at all. So they're not telling us who these people are. Then we find out later on through Interpol, through MI5, through a bunch of other stuff that these people are wanted in some way, shape, or form. So we now have to go track them down. These are issues that like those things, that's what we're going after. The asylum seekers, by law, we're not tossing them out. That's the law. We need to fix that system. That system is broke. And the system should be, if you leave Afghanistan, right? So you're escaping Afghanistan because, well, it's Afghanistan. So you're getting out of there. And the first place you land, let's just say is Italy or France. For whatever reason, you were able to get to a safe space like that. You're supposed to apply for asylum there to the United States and await a hearing. We don't even do that. We allow them to come here, travel through God knows how many countries, and then we catch and release them in here. Really, only Mexico and Canada have that kind of, first safe space, unless we have a deal, and there are some countries we do have deals with. But we've got to deal with the asylum process first and how it's broken, and then we can go from there. But if they've got asylum, as far as they've applied for asylum, they've been told they'll have a hearing, those people aren't going anywhere. They're not. So this freaking out of, oh, my God, we're going to spend all this money. And by the way, there are plenty of places out there in this country that are sanctuary cities where people in the inner city, people in the surrounding areas are going, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I'm not going to snitch on my neighbor, but I don't want you spending taxpayer dollars when we're struggling right now to feed ourselves. I don't want you spending taxpayer dollars to mount massive legal challenges over people that shouldn't be here who've already gone through the system and been told they have to leave. So we'll see how this all plays out. But Tom Homan, man, I tell you what, he's a character. He's definitely somebody, I said last week, he's a guy that you look at and it's like, I don't know. Grandpa's mean. I don't want to go to his house, right? I don't want to go to his house. What do you give me for Christmas? A bullet. Just a bullet. Like, you're a weird grandpa.
In my mind, it was the bullet, like the blender bullet, and I was like, wait, no,
No.
just a shell,
singular bullet.
Interesting.
When you get older, you and I will drink alcohol, go outside and shoot our guns off. Like, okay, Grandpa, scary, but he's no nonsense. Like that guy got no nonsense about him, which I absolutely love. And he's the right guy. Here's the funny thing. For all the stuff of Pete Hegseth and now Cash Patel, all these things people are talking about, and oh my God, Matt Gaetz, very few people, even on the left, have said anything about Tom Homan. Because the guy has been there, he's done it, he's run it, and they know they have no place to stand. My name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Chris Hand, who should be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, having fun, even though some of you are mad at me for whatever reason. It's all good. That's what I appreciate. A lot of stuff still to get to, and then I'm on again. I know, crazy, right? For another 3 hours, in for Matt Murphy, who will then be in for Brian Wilson. This is Super Talk 99.7.
We'll preview the potential for snow in Middle Tennessee. Also, closing arguments today in the subway chokehold case against Marine veteran Daniel Penny, coming up at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yo, what's up? 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 and 4 and counting numbers and such.
It's always a numbers game.
It is. It's always a numbers game. Speaking of that, how would you guys like to know the word of the year? Brain rot.
Really?
Which is 2 words, which is weird.
I think in the memes, it's all one. It's all squished together.
So brain rot is the word of the year. So basically it means you're rotting your brain by doing what? Social media.
Yeah.
Doom scrolling. And it's not even doom scrolling. I mean, look, I'm as guilty as anybody. How many times have you jumped on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, and you see a reel, the next thing you know, you're on, and you look up and you're like, oh my God, I've been on this thing for 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I watch movies that way now. It's like, I'm
I gotta find the next part. What happened?
Oh my God, what happens? That's why I fell in love with Landman.
Yeah.
Is I watched a few of those
Watching
things
the
and I'm like,
clips
oh
on
my
there.
God, I kind of want to see this show. Because I'm not a Yellowstone guy.
Yeah.
I never got into that. But Landman, then I'm like, all right, because I'm not I like beef.
Yeah.
But I just never was that. But I tell you what, I started seeing some of those clips for the Landman, and I'm like, dude, I want. But that's brain rot, man. You can sit there all day.
It just sucks you in, man.
It does.
I was like, that's how I ended up watching Suits.
Oh, I
saw clips on there, and I was like, you know what? I've seen the first scene like 12,000 times.
Where he rolls into the
he walks in with the briefcase.
He's
and
like,
everything.
I'm just here to hide from the police.
Yeah, and they're like, that's pretty good. Let him in.
If you've never seen Harvey Specter's great. I love that show.
I was like, it's great until about like season 6.
Yeah. And then what's his name? Mike Ross.
Yeah, he leaves.
Yeah,
he
he
leaves.
lost. He said he's gone as long as he could. Spoiler alert. It's been around forever. But now there's a new Suits. Did you see that? Suits LA.
Yeah, I saw that with Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I fell in love with his acting through that show Arrow on.
Arrow.
Yeah.
You know what I like too? I like Billions.
Yeah.
You ever watch Billions? If Billions makes you want to be a hedge fund guy, right? Makes you want to run a big fund.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because I want to have a plane, fly around, do all kinds of cool stuff. That's my plane. And we can have, Metallica
So
play in your
much fun,
backyard.
yeah.
Yeah, those guys have so much money. It's crazy.
It's wild.
It is wild. My name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Chris, but Chris is now, in theory, leaving. And then, in theory, Matt would be here. But I am here for Matt, who is in for Brian. For everybody who knows, Brian's retiring, and his final day will be Christmas Eve. So, but he's taking some time off Mondays and Fridays, so I'll be here Mondays and Fridays for Matt, but I was in a little bit earlier. So, more of me straight ahead in a weird kind of world.
Does that mean you're doing a cross with yourself?
I just did a cross to myself.
What's coming up next, Chad?
We're going to talk about some more Hunter Biden stuff, maybe a little bit more immigration, some other crazy, wacky stuff, including what the hell's going on in sports and college football and whatnot.
Ooh.
It's crazy. It is Chad Benson in for Chris, who will be then again in for Matt. It's Super Talk 99.7.